First verse of B.B. King's 3 O'Clock Blues. As we go through these verses, he'll sing a verse, play fills, sing a verse, play fill, sing a verse, play fill, and end the verse. There's 2 verses, solo, and then another verse. So the first verse after the introduction, he sings the first verse, and then the first fill he plays, fill number 1 for verse 1, goes like this. Goes into the next verse. When I first introduced this lesson, I told you that he was playing a 9th chord over the 4. He could be, but it sounds to me maybe he's playing a 7. That sounds more like what's going on. Now whether the guitar is playing that or that's what the piano and the other instruments are playing, I don't know. But if you're playing this on guitar and you don't have a band backing you up, or you have a small group, then I would play a 7. You sing the verse. So that first lick, let's go back to that. He's going to go to the 9th fret of the 1st string, and then 3 times, 1, 2, 3, on the 6th fret of the 1st string, and then that slide again. Remember how we did in the introduction? Going from the 9th to the 11th fret of the 2nd string to the 6th fret of the 2nd string. So the whole first part, and then he goes just walking from the 8th fret to the 6th fret of the 3rd string to the 8th fret of the 4th string, and then he kind of tails off by going to the 6th fret of the 4th string, which leads into the next vocal part. So one more time. And then into the next verse. Okay. The second fill in the first verse goes like this. And when he's doing these fills, you know, he's doing it over the 1. So he's singing over the 4. Close my eyes, and then right here. So this lick is very similar to the opening lick in the introduction to the song. So we're doing the bend on the 8th fret of the 3rd string, and then the 6th fret, we got that B flat shape, 2nd string, 1st string on the 6th fret, then to the 9th fret of the 2nd string, 6th fret, and then the bend. I'm going to let you figure this out on the tab. I'm not going to go through every single note. You can see what I'm playing. After a while, I do a lot of the same type of stuff. So this lick, this part's a little different. Sounds like he's starting from the 8th fret of the 4th string, and then again, 6th to 7th on the 3rd string, 6th fret of the 2nd string, 6th fret of the 1st string, back to the 6th fret of the 2nd string. So the whole second fill lick goes like this. And then over the 5, as he's finishing up the verse, this is the 3rd lick for the first verse. He does something very similar to what we just did, but with a couple little variations, which I'll teach you. It goes like this. And that wraps up the first verse. So this first part, very similar, if not exactly the same, to what we've already done. Then he does this bass run, or bass walk, from the 8th fret of the 5th string to the 6th fret of the 4th string to the 8th fret. Then he does this. And he's going to go from the 6th fret to the 7th fret on the 3rd string to the 8th fret of the 4th string, and then to the 8th fret of the 5th string, but within the shape of an F7th chord, which is the 5, which wraps up the verse. So the whole lick played slowly. And then into the next verse. So there we have the first verse of B.B. King's 3 o'clock. The second verse of the song. B.B. King starts out singing 3 o'clock blues. Thought I look all around me. Now my baby can't be found. And he plays something like that. So he starts out kind of sliding. It sounds like a slide from the 5th to the 6th fret. And I've got this B flat chord shape that I'm keeping here. You can even just play it with one finger, barring the first and second strings. I'm putting the first finger there, then I'm putting the second finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string just to get some balance there. But he's picking the first and second strings. It sounds like he does something like this. So it's twice on the 6th fret of the 1st string, and then the 6th fret of the 2nd string, like this. And then he's going to go with the pinky to the 9th fret of the 1st string with a slight bend up. And then he does this, where he's going to slide. Sounds like he's doing that with just the first finger, and he's picking the first string and then the second string. 6, 6, 6 on the second string. And the last time he smears it back down. So this is kind of a tricky lick, and I'm not sure exactly what he's playing here, but it sounds like this. And then into the next verse. That might be the hardest lick of the entire song, at least to get it to sound just right. The second lick of the second verse. He does a familiar pattern. And then he does this again. So let me play that again. There's a little variation on what he was doing before. So the first part of it is the same as what we played before, and then he holds the bend a little bit longer. Then he comes down with twice on the 8th fret of the 4th string. So listen to the difference here. Slight variation. And he does that lick that we did before. We did that going from the 6 and the 7 on the 3rd string, and then the 1st and 2nd string at the 6th fret. So let's play that whole lick again. I missed a note there. And then he goes to the 5. And then this is the lick that leads right in, right there at the end, as he goes from the 5 to the 4 and then back to the 1. Sounds like he does something like this. And then into the solo. So what I'm playing here, going from the 8th fret of the 4th string, 6th fret of the 3rd string, 8th fret of the 3rd string, just climbing to the 6th fret of the 2nd string, and then to the 6th, 8th fret of the 3rd string, similar to what we did in the introduction. 6, 7 on the 3rd string, so it's 8, 6, 7 on the 3rd string. It's from the 2nd string, 6th fret, to the 8th fret of the 4th string. So that whole little lick there. And then So I'm doing that. We did this earlier. 6 to the 7 on the 3rd string, to the 8th fret of the 4th string, to the 5th string, 8th fret, within the F7 shape. So one more time. Whoop. Let me try that again. Not perfect, but that's pretty darn close. So that takes us through the 3 fill licks in the 2nd verse of B.B. King's 3 O'Clock Blues. Again, I have these all tapped out by verse and then the licks in the order that they appear in the song. Next, we'll tackle the solo for B.B. King's 3 O'Clock Blues. We'll do the final verse and then we'll wrap it up.